Change can look positive from the outside and still feel threatening on the inside. A new job, a healthier relationship, a move to a better city, or a chance to grow can all create fear. The mind does not ask only whether change is good. It asks whether the future is predictable enough to feel safe. The first reason change scares people is loss of familiarity. Familiar does not always mean healthy. It simply means known. A stressful routine can feel safer than an unknown improvement because the brain has already learned the rules of the old situation. Predictable discomfort can feel less dangerous than unpredictable possibility. Think about someone leaving a job they dislike. They may complain about the boss, salary, and workload for years. But when a better offer arrives, fear appears. What if the new team is worse? What if I fail? What if I regret leaving? The old job was painful, but the pain had a schedule. Change also threatens identity. If a person has always been the reliable helper, setting boundaries may feel like becoming selfish. If someone has always been shy, speaking up may feel fake. Growth can require letting go of an old self-image, and people often grieve that even when the new version is healthier. The brain prefers stories it can finish. Change interrupts the story. Before the change, you know what usually happens on Monday morning, who calls, what annoys you, and how you cope. After the change, too many scenes are blank. Fear rushes in to fill those blanks with worst-case predictions. Risk perception becomes distorted during major transitions. The mind tends to magnify what could go wrong and minimize what is already going wrong. A person in a bad apartment may obsess over moving costs while forgetting the daily noise, long commute, and constant stress they're already paying for emotionally. Change is harder when previous attempts were punished. A child who was mocked for trying something new may become an adult who hesitates before any visible effort. Someone who once changed careers and struggled may treat every future transition like a repeat of that pain. The fear is not random, it has memory. Social pressure adds another layer. People may fear disappointing parents, confusing friends, losing status, or being judged for choosing differently. A person may stay in a predictable path because it is easier to defend. Change sometimes requires not only courage, but a willingness to be misunderstood for a while. The body can react to change before logic catches up. Sleep becomes lighter. Appetite changes. Small decisions feel exhausting. This happens because transitions increase mental load. Even good change requires the brain to update routines, expectations, and safety maps. Excitement and anxiety can live in the same nervous system. A useful example is moving to a new home. The person may want more space and a better neighborhood, but suddenly every drawer, commute, grocery route, and evening habit must be redesigned. The fear is not only about the house. It is about losing the quiet efficiency of a life already memorized. Fear of change often disguises itself as over-research. The person watches videos, reads reviews, compares options, and asks everyone for advice. Research can be wise, but endless research can become a safe waiting room. It lets the person feel active without crossing the line into commitment. Another disguise is sudden nostalgia. As soon as change becomes possible, the old situation may look warmer than it really was. The brain edits memories to reduce uncertainty. That is why someone leaving a toxic situation may suddenly remember only the comfortable moments. Nostalgia can be tender, but it is not always accurate. Change becomes easier when it is broken into experiments. Instead of declaring a whole new life, try a 2-week test, a trial class, a short project, or one honest conversation. Experiments reduce identity pressure. You are not proving who you are forever, you are collecting information. It also helps to separate fear from evidence. Fear says, this will go badly. Evidence asks, what facts support that? What skills do I have? What backup plan exists? What happened the last time I adapted? This kind of questioning does not remove uncertainty, but it stops fear from pretending to be prophecy. Supportive people make change less lonely. Not people who push blindly, but people who can sit with the uncertainty without making it dramatic. A calm friend, mentor, or partner can help you remember why the change matters when your nervous system starts bargaining for the old routine. Not every fear should be ignored. Sometimes hesitation points to missing information, real danger, bad timing, or values being violated. The goal is not to worship change. The goal is to tell the difference between wise caution and fear that is only protecting an old comfort zone. A practical question is, am I afraid because this is wrong, or because it is unfamiliar? That question slows the automatic retreat. Wrong and unfamiliar can feel similar in the body, but they are not the same. Unfamiliar may simply mean your mind has not built a map yet. People fear change because change asks the brain to leave a known pattern before the new one feels secure. That fear is human, but staying unchanged also has a cost. When you can respect the fear without letting it run your life, change becomes less like jumping off a cliff and more like learning a new route. Change is scary because it removes predictability before the new life has proved itself. Someone may dislike their current job, but they still know the commute, the boss, the routine, and the paycheck date. A new job may be better, yet the unknown details create emotional risk. The familiar problem can feel safer than the unfamiliar possibility. Fear of change also touches identity. Moving cities is not only about rent and transport. It can mean losing the role of being the reliable friend nearby, the known employee, or the person who always has a plan. When life changes, people may grieve an old version of themselves even when the new direction is healthy. A practical way to reduce fear is to separate reversible from irreversible decisions. Trying a new routine for 2 weeks is reversible. Selling a house, quitting without savings, or moving countries is harder to undo. When people treat every change as permanent, anxiety rises. When they design small experiments, the brain gets information instead of only imagination. People do not fear change only because they are weak or negative. They fear change because the brain protects stability, belonging, and known rewards. The aim is not to erase fear. It is to gather enough clarity, support, and small proof that the next step feels possible. Change becomes less frightening when it is not one giant jump, but a sequence of survivable moves. A useful question is, what part of this change is actually unknown? Sometimes the fear is about money. Sometimes it is about losing status, routine, support, or identity. Naming the unknown makes the fear smaller and more workable. You can plan for money, schedule support, test a routine, or grieve an old chapter without pretending the fear is silly.